Today we are going behind the gates of Frisco and Prosper and talking about the top gated communities that luxury buyers ask me about all the time. And let me say this right out of the gate, no pun intended. Frisco and Prosper are already one of the safest, most desirable suburbs in all of North Texas. So when people ask me, do I need to live in a gated community here? The answer is a resounding no. You do not have to be behind a gate to feel safe in Frisco or Prosper. I mean, Frisco was voted the second safest city in the nation by Forbes magazine. Some buyers just prefer it because they want the privacy, they want the exclusivity, they want to have a controlled entrance. They want custom homes, they want larger lots and the prestige. And honestly, they want the feeling when they drive through the gates and think, okay, this is different. So today I'm breaking down the top gated communities in Frisco and Prosper, including the ones that have been luxury staples for years, the ones that feel more private and estate-like, and the ones that are tied to some of the biggest growth stories in all of North Texas. We're gonna talk about Starwood, Stonebriar, Hills of Kingswood, Newman Village, Chapel Creek, Kingswood Creeks, Mont, Clair, Star Trail, Whispering Farms, and Gentle Creek. But make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to give you a bonus community that I think could become one of the most talked about luxury addresses in all of Texas. And this one is different. It is gated, it is brand new luxury, it has some of the top custom builders in North Texas, and it is tied to one of the biggest development stories Frisco has ever seen. And in my opinion, this is one of those communities where you are not just buying a house, you are buying into the future of Frisco luxury. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany Caballero. I am a top 1% real estate agent here in North Dallas, and I help people buy, sell, relocate, and understand the real truth about these communities before they make a very expensive decision. So if you're thinking about moving, call me, text me, I would love to help. The first thing I want to explain before we even talk about individual communities is the difference between buying a gated home in Frisco and buying a gated home in Prosper, because they may look similar online, but the lifestyle can feel really different. Frisco is more established, more built out, and more convenient. When people choose Frisco, they usually want location, they want to be close to the Dallas North Tollway, the Star, Legacy West, the PGA, shopping, restaurants, private schools, sports, events, medical, and all the energy that Frisco has been known for. Frisco is not just a suburb anymore. It's literally becoming a destination city. It has corporate relocation, the PGA, sports, entertainment, luxury shopping, new developments, and some of the strongest long-term demand in North Texas. So when you buy into a gated community in Frisco, you're often paying for more than the house. You're paying for the location, the convenience, the prestige, the proximity. The trade-off is that Frisco can feel busier. The lots are often smaller than what you may get further north. The pricing can be higher per square foot, and in some communities, you may be buying an older home that has an incredible location, but may need updates. Prosper, on the other hand, gives you a very different kind of luxury. Prosper is more open. It feels more spacious. You can often get larger lots, newer homes, wider streets, and a little more breathing room. Prosper has this elevated, family-focused, master-planned luxury feel, but it still feels a little quieter and more residential than Frisco. Now, Prosper has absolutely grown like crazy, and it's not the tiny country town people remembered from 15 years ago. But compared to Frisco, it still has more of that, I want space, I want privacy, I want my kids in Prosper ISD, I want a larger home, and I don't mind being a few minutes further north feeling. So when buyers are deciding between gated communities in Frisco and Prosper, I always ask them this: are you buying for convenience or are you buying for space? Because that one question usually starts to reveal the answer. If you want to be right in the middle of the action, Frisco's probably going to be stronger for you. If you want a larger lot, a quieter feel, and maybe a little more separation from the pace of Frisco, Prosper may be a better fit. Neither one is better for every buyer. They're just different. And this is why gated communities are so interesting in both cities, because the gate means different things depending on where you are. In Frisco, a gate often gives you privacy inside of a city that's already very active and developed. In Prosper, a gate often adds another layer of exclusivity to a community that may already feel more spacious and private. Now let's talk about a newer and more niche Frisco gated community, Kingswood Creeks. Kingswood Creeks is interesting because it gives you a newer luxury option with a more low maintenance, private, custom home feel. This is not a giant master plan community with hundreds and hundreds of homes. It feels more boutique, more controlled, and more private. For the buyer who wants new construction or newer luxury but does not want the maintenance of a huge estate lot, Kingswood Creeks can make a lot of sense. It gives you gated privacy, luxury home sites, and a location that ties into some of the major growth happening in Frisco. This is a different buyer than the Starwood buyer. The Starwood buyer may love the established prestige and location. The Kingswood Creeks buyer may be saying, I want something newer, I want something lower maintenance, I want privacy, but I do not necessarily want a massive older home that needs updating. That is where Kingswood Creeks becomes compelling. And this is a part of a bigger trend I see in luxury real estate. Not every luxury buyer wants more maintenance. People think luxury always means bigger houses, bigger lot, bigger yard, bigger everything. But that's not always the truth anymore. A lot of luxury buyers want quality, location, privacy, convenience, but they do not want their life to revolve around maintaining a property. So Kingswood Creeks may appeal to executives, empty nesters, second home buyers, or busy families who want the luxury feel without some of the headaches that can come with older, larger estate properties. Now, it may not be the best fit for someone who wants a huge yard, mature trees, or that kind of classic established Frisco prestige of Starwood or Stonebriar. But for someone who wants a gated new luxury in a more intimate setting, it's absolutely worth looking at. Now that we've talked through the Frisco communities, let's shift into Prosper. This is where the conversation really changes. Prosper luxury has a different feel. In Frisco, you are often paying for location and convenience. In Prosper, you're often paying for space, newer construction, schools, community design, and a quieter lifestyle. And I want to be really clear. Prosper is not a cheaper Frisco, not anymore. That may have been the way people talked about it years ago, but Prosper has become its own luxury market. There are buyers who specifically want Prosper. They're not choosing it because they got priced out of Frisco. They're choosing it because they want the Prosper lifestyle. They want a larger home. They want bigger lots. They want Prosper ISD. They want newer neighborhoods. They want more breathing room, and they're okay with being a little further north because the trade-off is worth it to them. So let's start with one of Prosper's best-known gated luxury communities, the Mont Clair. Mont Clair is one of the first communities I think about when someone says, I want a gated luxury neighborhood in Prosper. It has that elevated, established, exclusive feel, and it is located in a part of Prosper that gives you access to all the major roads without feeling like you're right in the middle of the chaos. Mont Clair is a strong fit for buyers who want gated privacy, larger homes, and a true Prosper luxury feel. What makes Mont Clair appealing is that it gives you that sense of arrival. You know when you're entering a luxury community. The homes are substantial. The lots feel generous. The neighborhood feels quiet and polished. This is where Prosper starts to separate itself from Frisco. In Frisco, gated luxury often comes with a premium for location. In Prosper, gated luxury often comes with more space. Mont Clair is a good example of that. A buyer who's comparing Mont Clair to Starwood or Newman Village may be comparing two totally different lifestyles. Starwood and Newman Village keep you closer to the center of Frisco. Mont Clair gives you more of that Prosper space and newer luxury feel. So I would ask that buyer, do you want the convenience and energy of Frisco, or do you want the space and slower pace of Prosper? Because both are luxury, but they do feel different day to day. Mont Clair is especially strong for families who want Prosper schools and a luxury home, gated privacy, and a neighborhood that feels removed without being disconnected. Now let's talk about Newman Village, one of my favorites. Newman Village is one of the most unique luxury communities in Frisco because it does not feel like every other neighborhood out there. It has more of a curated European-inspired look. There is architecture, charm, community design, and a sense of identity. This is a gated community that tends to appeal to buyers who really care about aesthetics because it is so stunning. They do not just want a big house. They want a neighborhood that feels intentional. They want character. They want charm. They want a place where the streetscape matters. Newman Village is located in a great part of Frisco Frisco, and it gives buyers access to the convenience of Frisco while still feeling special and set apart. One of the reasons Newman Village works so well for certain buyers is that it feels more intimate. It does not have that master plan community feel. It feels more boutique, more polished, and more architecturally controlled. Now that can be a positive or a negative depending on the buyer. If you want total freedom to build anything you want, Newman Village may not feel as flexible as some estate style communities, but if you want a neighborhood where the overall feel is protected and cohesive, that can be a huge advantage. Newman Village is also a great example of why gated communities are not just about safety. Again, Frisco is already extremely safe. People are not necessarily buying in Newman Village because they think they cannot live safely somewhere else. They are buying it because they like the experience, they like the feel, they like the exclusivity, they like the architecture, they like being in a community that has a recognizable luxury identity. For buyers who want Frisco convenience but do not want a generic luxury neighborhood, Newman Village should absolutely be probably first on your list. Now let's move to Chapel Creek. Chapel Creek is one of those Frisco luxury neighborhoods that people love because it's beautiful and established and incredibly well located. It is not always talked about in the exact same way as Starwood or Stonebriar, but do not underestimate it. Chapel Creek is a very strong luxury pocket. The thing about Chapel Creek is that it has a softer, more residential elegance to it. You have custom homes, water features, mature landscaping, and a central Frisco location that's hard to beat. You can get anywhere fast. Some areas have more of a gated feel or gated sections, so this is one where I would always tell buyers we need to be specific about the exact home and section. Not all of it's gated because not every part of a neighborhood always functions the same way. But as a luxury Frisco community, Chapel Creek deserves to be in this conversation. Chapel Creek is ideal for buyers who want Frisco luxury without necessarily needing the most flashy or ultra private estate. It is beautiful, convenient, and established. It gives you access to everything Frisco offers, but it's still elevated. One of the things I like about Chapel Creek is that it can appeal to a broad luxury buyer. Some buyers want the prestige of Starwood, some want the hidden feel of the hills of Kingswood, some want the charm of Newman Village. Chapel Creek is a nice middle ground for people who want beauty, location, and custom home quality without feeling like they're locked into one very specific neighborhood personality. Now, just like the other established Frisco communities, you need to pay attention to the home itself. In Chapel Creek, condition matters, updates matter, lot location matters, water view matters, floor plans matter. And because Frisco luxury buyers are very picky, the homes that are updated well and positioned well are going to get the most attention and even potentially multiple offers. So if you are a buyer looking in Chapel Creek, do not just look at price per square foot. That is where people make mistakes. You have to understand the street, the lot, the updates, the view, and the age of the home, who the builder is, and that's the resale story. That is where luxury real estate gets really nuanced. Now let's talk about Star Trail. Star Trail is one of Prosper's most recognized master plan communities, and I want to explain this carefully because Star Trail as a whole is not simply one small gated neighborhood. It is a large master plan community, but it does have luxury sections and gated sections that buyers are often drawn to. It represents the newer Prosper lifestyle really well. You have newer homes, beautiful amenities, trails, pools, community space, parks, and a very polished master plan feel. This is not the buyer who wants an older, hidden estate community. This is the buyer who wants newness. They want amenities, they want the community, they want the kids to have things to do. They want the neighborhood to feel active and family friendly, but still elevated. Star Trail is a really good fit for buyers who want Prosper but do not want to feel isolated. It has that master planned energy that a lot of relocating families love. When people move from out of state, they often want the easy button lifestyle. They want that neighborhood pool, they want the trails, they want the pretty entrance. They want to see kids outside, they want the community events, they want the feeling that the neighborhood itself has a lifestyle. Star Trail gives you that. The trade-off is that it's not going to feel as private or estate-like as something like Whispering Farms or Mont Clair. Even if you are in a gated section, you're still part of a larger master planned environment. So again, it comes down to buyer personality. If you want privacy above everything, Star Trail may not be your top choice. But if you want newer construction, amenities, prosperous schools, and a really polished community feel, Star Trail should be definitely on your list. And this is why I always tell buyers, do not just ask, what's the best neighborhood? Ask, what is the best neighborhood for the way I actually live? Because some people say they want privacy, but then they also want a huge amenity center. They want community events. They want kids everywhere. Those are different things. Not impossible, but different. Star Trail is one of the better options for buyers who want a balance of luxury, amenities, school, and neighborhood energy. Next is Whispering Farms. Whispering Farms is a different kind of prosper luxury. This is not about flashy amenity centers or brand new master planned perfection. This is more estate style. It's spacious, it's private, it's quiet. This is the community I would talk about for buyers who say, I don't want to feel stacked on top of my neighbors. I want room. I want a large lot. I want a more custom feel. I want privacy. Whispering Farms has that more established, prosper estate feel. It is the kind of place where the value is not just in the house, but in the land and the space around the house. And that's a big distinction. A lot of buyers coming from out of state are shocked by this because they see a big house online and assume this is luxury. But in North Texas, especially in places like Prosper, the lot size and the setting matter so much. A big house on a small lot is not the same thing as a big house on an estate lot. Whispering Farms is for the buyer who understands that. It's not going to be the right fit for everyone. If you want brand new amenities, resort style pools, and a super active master planned community, this may feel too quiet. But if you want space and a more private feel, it can be extremely appealing. I love Whispering Farms. This is where Prosper really shines compared to Frisco. You can still find pockets that feel more open, more estate-like, and less dense. In Frisco, that's harder to find, especially as the city continues to build out. So if someone tells me, Tiffany, I want luxury, but I don't want to feel like I'm in the middle of everything, I'm gonna pay close attention to communities like Whispering Farms. Okay, now let's get to the bonus community I teased at the beginning. This is the one I think is going to become one of the most talked about luxury addresses in Frisco, but in all of Texas. And that is the Preserve at the Fields. Now I saved this one for the end because it's really its own category. The Preserve is not old school Frisco luxury. It's not established, mature, been there for 20 years luxury like Starwood or Stonebriar. This is the next wave of Frisco luxury, and it's tied to one of the biggest development stories in all of North Texas. The Preserve is part of the larger Fields development in North Frisco. It includes the PGA of America, the Omni PGA Frisco Resort, and the future growth happening around Fields West and the entire northern Frisco corridor. And this is why I think buyers need to understand it. The Preserve is not just about having a beautiful house behind a gate. It's about being in the middle of where Frisco is going next. You have the PGA, you have Fields, you have the future retail and dining, you have major corporate and lifestyle growth, you have trails, parks, luxury homes, resort energy, and the entire section of Frisco that's being designed to become a true destination. The equity will be insane. So if somebody is comparing the Preserve to Starwood, Stonebriar, the hills of Kingswood, or Newman Village, the question is not just which one is nicer. They're all luxury communities, but they are not selling the same lifestyle. Starwood gives you established prestige. Stonebriar gives you the central Frisco convenience and golf course luxury. Hills of Kingswood gives you privacy, trees, hills, and that tucked away custom home feel. Newman Village gives you charm, architecture, and a curated luxury neighborhood experience. But the Preserve gives you brand new luxury inside one of the most important master plan developments Frisco has ever seen. And that is a very different proposition. The Preserve is for the buyer who says, I want new, I want luxury, I want custom, I want to be close to the future of Frisco, I want to be near the PGA, I want to be positioned in an area that people are going to keep talking about for years. This is not going to be for everyone. The pricing is certainly high, the area is still evolving. Some buyers want mature landscaping in a neighborhood that already feels completely finished. The Preserve is more of a buy into the a vision play, but it is a very powerful vision. And that's what makes it so interesting. Because when people ask me about gated communities in Frisco and Prosper, they usually think about the names that have already proven themselves. They think Starwood, they think Stonebriar, they think Hills of Kingswood and the Newman villages. But the Preserve is the one I think people are going to talk about more and more as Fields continues to build out. And this is why timing matters. In real estate, especially luxury real estate, there is a difference between buying after everyone already knows the story and buying before the story is built. Now, that does not mean every early buyer automatically wins, even though I think they will. You still have to buy the right home on the right lot with the right builder and the right price. But when a community is tied to a major development like Fields West, you have to look beyond today and understand what the area is becoming. That is where the Preserve gets exciting. And it also shows you how Frisco luxury is evolving. Frisco used to be known as a great suburb with great schools and great sports. Now Frisco is becoming a luxury destination with corporate relocations, PGA, high-end retail, major entertainment, and some of the most expensive residential developments in the entire state of Texas. The Preserve is part of the next chapter. So when I compare it to Prosper gated communities, it is a completely different conversation. Prosper gives you space, schools, family lifestyle, larger lots, and a quieter feel. The Preserve gives you Frisco's future luxury energy. It's closer to the action. It is tied to a major destination development. It is more expensive. It's more high profile. It's more connected to the larger Frisco growth story. So again, it comes back to lifestyle. Do you want established Frisco prestige? Then you are probably looking at Starwood, Stonebriar, Newman Village, Chapel Creek, the Hills of Kingswood. Do you want newer Frisco luxury with future upside? Then you're probably looking at Kingswood Creeks and the Preserve. Do you want Prosper space and gated luxury? Then Mont Clair needs to be on your list. Do you want Prosper amenities and newer master planned living? Then Star Trail may be a great fit. Do you want estate style privacy? Then look at Whispering Farms. Do you want established golf course Prosper luxury? Then Gentle Creek may make a lot of sense. And this is where the right choice becomes really personal, because the best gated community is not the same for everyone. For one buyer, Starwood may be perfect because they want the name, they want the location, and the established Frisco prestige. For another buyer, the Hills of Kingswood may be perfect because they want privacy and more dramatic, natural settling. And that's where the right choice becomes so personal, because the best gated community is not the same for everyone. For another buyer, Newman Village may be perfect because they want the charm and the architecture. And for another buyer, Mont Clair may be perfect because they want Prosper schools, gated privacy, and a larger home. But then again, there's Star Trail, and it's perfect because they want amenities, newer homes, and that active family community feel. For another buyer, the Preserve may be perfect because they want brand new luxury tied to the future of Frisco. Now let's talk about Gentle Creek Estates. Gentle Creek is one of Prosper's established luxury communities, and it has a very specific appeal because of the golf course lifestyle. This is where buyers who want Prosper, but also want an established neighborhood with amenities and a country club feel may really connect. Gentle Creek gives you a more mature Prosper option. It's not the newest community in town, but that can actually be a positive because it feels settled. You have larger homes, golf course proximity, green space, and a more established luxury presence. This is the kind of neighborhood that can work for buyers who want Prosper, but do not want to be in the newest construction zone. They want something that already feels like a neighborhood, and that matters because one of the trade-offs with new developments is that you may be living through construction for a while. You may love the future vision, but you're also dealing with trucks and dust and unfinished retail, growing traffic patterns, and amenities that are still not built out. Gentle Creek gives you something more established. For golf lovers, this is obviously going to be more appealing, but even if you're not a major golfer, the golf course setting can give a neighborhood a more open, green, scenic feel. Now, just like any established community, buyers need to look closely at condition and updates. Some homes may be beautifully updated, others may need cosmetic work, but Gentle Creek continues to be one of Prosper's luxury names that people really recognize. If I had to summarize Gentle Creek, I would say it's for the buyer who wants Prosper luxury with a mature, established golf course kind of lifestyle feel. Now, before I get to the bonus community I teased about at the beginning, I want to pause and talk about something really important: how to actually choose between these communities. Because it's easy to sit here and say they're all beautiful, and they are, but when you are spending this kind of money, beautiful's not enough. You need to know what you're really buying. The first thing you need to look at is location. If your life is centered around Legacy West, the Star, Plano, Dallas, private schools, or even the Dallas North Tollway, then Frisco gated communities may be more convenient. Starwood, Stonebriar, Chapel Creek, Newman Village, and Kingswood Creeks each give you a different version of Frisco luxury, but they all keep you close to that Frisco lifestyle. If your life is more focused on space, schools, newer homes, and a quieter residential feel, Prosper may be a better fit. You've got the Mont, Clair, you've got Star Trail, Whispering Farms, and General Creek. They all offer different versions of Prosper luxury. The second thing is lot size. This is really huge, no pun intended. Some luxury buyers do want a huge lot. They think they do, but when we start talking about maintenance and landscaping and pool care and drainage, irrigation, upkeep, they realize that actually want privacy more than they want that maintenance. Other buyers absolutely want the land. They want the yard, they want the pool, they want the outdoor kitchen, they want their dogs to run, they want distance from their neighbors. Those are two very different buyers. So when you're looking at gated communities, don't just ask, is it gated? Ask, what kind of lot does the community give me? The third thing is the age of the home. Established communities often have better locations, mature trees, and proven resale, but the homes may need updates. Newer communities give you modern floor plans, better energy efficiency, new finish outs, and less immediate renovation, but they may not have the same mature landscaping or established feel yet. So again, neither is wrong, it just depends on what you value. The fourth thing is privacy. Not all gated communities feel private. This is where people get confused. A gate does not automatically mean privacy. You can have a gated community where the homes still feel close together, and you can have a non-gated community where the lots are large and the homes feel very private. So if privacy is your goal, we need to look beyond the gate. We need to look at the lot, the setbacks, the trees, the street, the traffic inside the neighborhood, the position of the home, and what backs up to the property. The fifth thing is resale. At the luxury level, resale is not just about square footage, it's about desirability. Does the community have a name people recognize? Is the location strong? Is the home updated? Is the floor plan functional? Is the lot special? Is the builder respected? Is the neighborhood aging well? These are all things that matter. And this is why I always say luxury buyers need guidance beyond Zillow. Zillow can show you the house. It cannot always explain the story, and the story matters. And that's why I matter. That is why you cannot just pick a neighborhood from a list. You have to understand how you actually live. Do you want to be near restaurants and shopping? Do you want to be closer to Dallas? Do you need to commute? Do you want a huge backyard? Do you want a pool? Do you want new construction? Do you want established trees? Do you care more about privacy or amenities? Do you want gated because of safety, or do you want gated because of exclusivity? Because those are not always the same thing. And I want to say this again because I think it's important. Frisco and Prosper are already incredibly safe communities. A gate is not mandatory here. You can live in an amazing non-gated neighborhood in Frisco or Prosper and feel very, very safe. But some people love the gated lifestyle. They love the privacy. They love the controlled entry. They love the exclusivity. They love the feeling that the neighborhood is just a little more tucked away. And there is nothing wrong with that. At the luxury level, sometimes buyers are not just buying what they need, they're buying what they prefer, and that's okay. If you're spending this kind of money on a home, you should love the way it feels when you drive into the neighborhood. You should love the setting. You should love the lifestyle. You should feel like the community matches the life you're trying to build. So if you're watching this and trying to decide between Frisco and Prosper, here's how I would simplify it. Choose Frisco if you want convenience, energy, strong proximity to major developments, more established luxury names, and easier access to the tollway, to shopping, dining, and the corporate hubs. Choose Prosper if you want more space, a quieter family feel, newer homes, larger lots, and a little more breathing room. Choose a gated community in either city if you want privacy, exclusivity, and a more elevated neighborhood experience. But do not assume gated automatically means better. Some of the best communities in Frisco and Prosper are not gated. gated. And some gated communities may not be the best fit for your lifestyle. The key is matching the community to the buyer. That's where having someone local matters, because I can tell you what looks good online, but I can also tell you what feels good in person. I can tell you which neighborhoods feel more private, which ones feel more active, which ones feel more established, which ones have better resale stories, and which ones might not match what you think you want once you actually drive through them. And that is the part you cannot always figure out from a listing. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in Frisco, Prosper, or anywhere in North Dallas, call me or text me. I would love to help you compare these communities, narrow down the right fit for you, and make sure you're not just buying a pretty house, but you're buying the right lifestyle, the right location, and the right long-term investment for you. Because at the end of the day, the gate is just one piece of the story. The real question is, what kind of life do I want to live behind it? Do you want established prestige? Do you want new construction? Do you want space? Do you want convenience? So those are my top gated communities in Frisco and Prosper, plus the bonus community I think luxury buyers need to pay attention to. If you found this helpful, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want a deeper dive into any of these neighborhoods, text me. I will reach back out. I will help you every step of the way. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until the next video, I hope you have a great rest of your day.